Hello and welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, to the Historical Humans Podcast. My name is Justin Woods, and today I'm joined by Colum Coleman. And today, on episode 12 of season 3, we're going to be talking about the Seleucids, one of the more interesting, so to speak, empires in the former Hellenic empires.
Uh, let's just So the Seleucids are one of those dynasties and that share their name with the empire, and it's one of those weird sort of nations that like society or the world or just God did not want to exist. Um,
I,
you might remember, longtime viewers might remember our video on Poland, Lithuania, and how much of a mess that nation was.
oh, the
Um,
Polish-Lithuania Commonwealth.
yep, yeah. Poland, Lithuania had it together compared to the Seleucids.
You
They
know,
had their house in order.
that is what happens, though, when you follow Alexander the Great.
Yeah, So
After he dies, after you have a strong leader, there becomes a power vacuum, and then it
it
very
has
much feels like whack-a-mole with leaders here.
it, it has nothing to do with how good of a leader Alexander was, and everything to do with the fact that he conquered like 5 nations and went kaput the same year. Yeah.
Are we
Not,
friends? Are we allies? Well, I think so. Well, I don't.
Also, it really helps when your succession plan isn't my empire belongs to the strongest. Literally the dying words of Alexander the Great. To a room full of generals.
Oh,
So, yeah, that's what founds this empire.
so
So
it's
the
basically
Seleucids,
the strongest survives.
yeah. Supposedly, one of his generals on his deathbed asks which of the many contenders for Alexander's throne should succeed him, and he replies, "The strongest." And everyone immediately assumes he's talking about them. Yeah. The Seleucids themselves do have a pretty good track record in terms of time. They last from 312 to 64 BCE. They are founded by Seleucus the First Nicator, uh, and as a successor state of the Empire of Alexander the Great, they get control of essentially the middle part, basically what used to be Persia. They have Syria, Iran, Iraq, Pakistan, Turkey, and Israel. They will hold on to almost none of this immediately. Um, they are what is known as a Hellenic empire. This is one that promotes Greek culture over indigenous ones and has a ruling aristocratic class of Greek speaking people. So it's very much a foreign dynasty in a place that is multi ethnic and definitely not used to having one.
Hey, it's all Greek to me.
Yep.
Which we should probably preface. You already talked about the nations that it consists of, the
Yeah.
former Persian
Yeah, yeah,
Empire.
yeah. The former Persian Empire. Yeah, it's those modern nations are effectively what it was. And if you notice anything in that list, being something of an odd one out, Pakistan, Iran, Iraq, Syria, Turkey, Israel, you might understand why this country is going to have severe ethnic problems in about 5 minutes.
I'm just sitting here, like, kind of not laughing, but almost just basking in the irony because a lot of times we look at a lot of the socio-political issues modern day and we go, huh, this is a uniquely modern issue.
Yep. Fun fact, no.
The Suclids would like to know your location.
Yep. Yeah. Yeah. Fun fact. A bunch of horrible things are going to happen to these to the Seleucids here, and the Romans are going to take over at one point and learn absolutely nothing from them. Yeah. The Seleucids, the dynasty, the empire, it all takes its name from the founder of this dynasty, Seleucus Nicator. Now, Seleucus had been a leading general in the army of Alexander the Great, but he wasn't a big enough dog to get his own empire right out the gate. See, instead, 2 years after Alexander dies, he becomes appointed as the satrap of Babylon, which is sort of the Persian office of governor. He's ruling the region of Babylonia, and he's more or less expected to pick a side in the ensuing chaos that is Alexander's death.
So he's the one that got rid of the Hanging Gardens.
Potentially, I don't know. It might be one of his kids here. Everything gets really fricked up really fast, and I did not find a mention of the Hanging Gardens in their rule. Mostly because their rule consists of a list of people rebelling against them and about how successful they were.
All right, you pass, you fail, 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 Pat.
Yeah. Now, Alexander the Great's death more or less creates this multi-faction civil war, of which there's only two real sides that we need to keep in mind for the Seleucids. The first is Ptolemy the First of Egypt, another of Alexander's generals. Ptolemy steals Alexander's body, goes to Egypt, proclaims himself pharaoh. The second is Antigonus the First of Macedon. Antigonus is another general of Alexander, and I believe has a blood relation to him, and is ruling Macedonia, Alexander's home province within what is now Greece.
Which it should be probably stated that Alexander didn't have like a direct heir either, correct?
No, he did not have a direct heir. I believe he had a like baby brother. So it's kind of all up in the air for this.
The
Uh,
reason I mention that is because I know on his deathbed he basically said the strongest man survived, but a lot of times in this world and at this point in time, you would have a de facto or a de jure heir who would basically assume the reins. With Alexander, there wasn't that. There wasn't that clear guiding light for everyone to rally behind. Instead, it was like turning the lights on and the cockroaches scattering.
yeah. Well, the key thing is that like Alexander's very young when he dies, and
30 something, right?
yeah, point is he's a young king and he dies unexpectedly because he is healthy. Then he more or less gets poisoned and dies. So no one is expecting him to die. Everyone's expecting him to live long enough to have kids that are at least 10 before he kicks it. That does not happen.
Oof.
But anyway, we have Ptolemy of Egypt and Antigonus of Macedon. Seleucus sides with Ptolemy, a decision which, although necessary, everyone who comes after Seleucus will regret.
Oh no.
See, he does this because Antigonus has forced him out of Babylonia during Antigonus's campaigns against Ptolemy. So he goes to Ptolemy, Seleucus here. He gets a bunch of troops from him, and in 312, Seleucus leads Ptolemy's armies to victory at the Battle of Gaza. Definitely not a battleground anywhere else in the in history.
I never once fought another battle at that location,
Yeah,
ever.
yeah, no. And the victory at Gaza allows Seleucus to retake Babylonia and found the Seleucid Empire, which is going to take us into the reign of Seleucus proper now that we have the empire formed. A mere, 11 years after Alexander dies.
Efficient.
Now, yep. Now, Seleucus I rules from 312 to 281, beginning a series of long but definitely not prosperous reigns. In 305, he begins to expand from Babylonia and really sort of put together the empire that would be the Seleucid Empire. He moves eastward towards the Indus River, i.e., taking over most of Pakistan. and westward into Syria and Anatolia, taking control of, what is now Israel and Turkey and, a lot of the other states out there.
The Levant.
Yeah, the Levant, yep. 301, he wins the Battle of Ipsus against Antigonus. In 281, he annexes what is known as the Thracian Chersonese, which is now known as the Gallipoli Peninsula. Basically, he's taking over where Istanbul is. And this is a big deal for the Greeks because he now controls the Hellespont, which is the bridge from Greece to the entirety of Asia. And he now owns it. In 281, same year he takes over the Hellespont. A man by the name of Ptolemy Ceraunus, son of Ptolemy I of Egypt, assassinates him.
Oh, come on.
His own ally kills him.
It's the ones who you thought were the closest.
Yep. This brings us to Antiochus I Soter. Gets a 20-year reign, 281 to 261. He's the eldest son of Seleucus I, and his reign is notable for what is considered what's called the First Syrian War, which is actually two separate wars. 280 to 279, 274 to 271, both against Egypt, under the reign of Ptolemy II. Both are horribly unsuccessful, so much so that the region of Cappadocia just declares itself independent, and the Seleucids can really do nothing about it.
You fail in a war when your own parts of the country are just like, yeah, I'm out. Yeah, the writing's on the wall.
That will happen in every war that the Seleucids fight from here on out.
Oh my god.
This country is immediately disintegrating. I mean, it's literally cardboard against a hose here.
The wheels are quite literally falling off the bus as it's barreling down the highway.
Yep. And then, to make matters worse for Antigonus I, in 263, one of the best events in history, in my opinion, occurs, and that is the independence of Pergamon. A man by the name of Eumenes I declares Pergamon independent from the Seleucids after Pergamon was used to house the Seleucid treasury, and he steals the entirety of their bank.
Damn.
The man literally stole the GDP of their country and used it to buy himself independence.
Damn. I mean, good for him, but damn, that's... How do you just... I mean, I know the times are different, and I know that there's a little bit more... I know there's not as much security, but how do you just steal the entire GDP?
Simple. Because there is no such thing as paper money or digital currency or electronic banking or anything like that. Everything has to be backed up by physical coins, which means the government has to build a giant vault to house all the money the government spends and collects in taxes. That vault must be located in a physical location. So to keep it away from Egypt, they build it in Pergamon, which is in northern Turkey. And the guy they put in charge of Pergamon just says, I have a walled city and more money than God. Yeah, I'm going to bribe the guard and basically become independent. This is the equivalent of like Alexander Hamilton establishing Fort Knox and then like buying New York.
Using Fort Knox.
Yeah. Yeah, this is basically what happens.
Oh, jeez.
Yep. Anyway, Antiochus I kicks it 261. We get Antiochus II, 261 to 246. We are still in the long reign period of the Seleucids. That will be coming to the end soon. Now, Antiochus II kind of has a weird relationship with the throne. He's the eldest surviving son of Antiochus I, because Antiochus I was a little murderous and killed his older brother. Uh, anyway, soon as Antiochus II gets on the throne, the Second Syrian War breaks out. This is 260 to 253, and it is a successful war against Ptolemy II of Egypt. Here, he captures the famed city of Miletus and forces Egypt to acknowledge the western borders of the Seleucid Empire, i.e., the Levant. He controls Phoenicia now, and that is a wonderful thing for him. He will regret it. His death in 246 has the added benefit of provoking the Third Syrian War, because he had 3 heirs from 2 wives and did not write down who the hell was supposed to succeed him.
Literally, just take a napkin at the bar they're sitting at and just scribble down a name. That has to be more efficient than what they're doing now, where it's like, they'll figure it out.
Yeah.
The strongest of them will figure it out. I don't have to worry.
And for a moment, it does, because Seleucus II goes from 246 to 225. He actually has an uncontested reign, because as the eldest son of Antiochus II, and with the immediate declaration of war from Egypt, he is declared king immediately and sent off to deal with the threat.
Congratulations, you've been promoted. Where's your promotion? The front line.
Yep. Now, 246 to 241 is the Third Syrian War. Ptolemy III of Egypt invades. He is largely successful, mostly raiding with a lot of these wars, a little bit of territory taking. The war goes poorly for Seleucus II, so much so that when it ends in 241, the very next year, 240, Seleucus II and his brother Antiochus Hyrax go to war. Now, Hyrax wins independence of his province, is immediately conquered by Pergamon because Hyrax was controlling part of Turkey.
And Pergamon, with their money, has the wealth and the ability to hire out professional soldiers.
Yep.
Crazy
And
how that works out.
Yep. Not to mention, Pergamon is bigger than Hyrax's province. So they have a numbers advantage.
I just love it too, because I imagine it's like a predator just waiting. Like, you're seeing 2 smaller, minor predators fighting. You see, a bird taking on a mouse or a skink or something. And then after the fight's over, the hawk just comes in and takes whatever the winner is.
More like what's happening is the Seleucids are an elephant losing to the mouse that is Hyrax, and then a sparrow comes down and eats the mouse. Pergamon is not that big. Pergamon survives because they know how to bribe people and be financially savvy, all right?
Okay, that's all it takes. Money rules the world.
Yeah. And in 235, after Hyrax and everything goes down, the Parni, which have been raiding the Seleucids more or less nonstop for 10 years at this point, they settle down in Parthia after they removed the Seleucids from there and found what is known as the Parthian Empire. These are the Persians that the Romans will hate for most of their existence. So the Parthians are the versions of Persia that do all the famous battles and really are the thorn in the Roman Empire side. But they got another 200 years to get big before that happens. With that, we come to the first small reign of the Seleucid Empire. Seleucus III only gets 2 years on the throne, 225 to 223. He's the son of Seleucus II. He has some success retaking Anatolia from Pergamon. He gets some gains back there after the whole Hyrax fiasco. But he's deeply unpopular with his own court and is poisoned to death by his own people 2 years into his reign.
Oh my god, these guys are playing musical chairs.
Yep. Yep. This leads to Antiochus III, also known as Antiochus the Great. He's going to be, I think, the last of our big reign people. He rules from 223 to 187. He is the brother of the short-lived Seleucus III and a son of Seleucus II. And he is a major reformer. He modernizes the old Persian civil military structure. He unifies the civil service and the military service into a single office called Strigoi, so that there is no longer any differentiation between the people in charge of running the army and the people in charge of running the city. The military now has direct control, which really increases the efficiency of the Seleucid Empire and is more or less the reason that it doesn't collapse in the next like 20 to 30 years. Because this empire has done nothing but disintegrate the entire time that it has existed.
So he took it from a more bureaucratic system and just basically said, yeah, we're now a military.
Yeah. Well, basically, how the Persians like to do it is they would give a civilian governor control of a set of territory and a military officer control of all troops in that territory. And the two of them would fight over who got to do what because their responsibilities overlapped. You know, for example, where do you build the barracks to house these troops? Is that the military officer's job? Is that the civilian governor's job? After all, you're building it on his land.
And I imagine there was cooperation to a degree, but I imagine at a certain point that no longer happened.
It just devolves into infighting once the empire starts losing consistently, like the Seleucids have been doing.
Because the general's like, shut up, I have the power, and the governor's like, shut up, I control the land.
Yeah, the governor says, I have the money and the land, go away.
And the soldier's like, but you forget, I have soldiers.
Yeah.
Darn, I always forget that part.
Yep. Yep. In 219, the Fourth Syrian War breaks out. This one will only last for 2 years. It is a successful war against Ptolemy IV of Egypt. The Seleucids capture Tyre, and they reconquer Seleucia and the holy city of Antioch. It's not holy yet, but it's fun to give it titles because it was freaking important even back then.
Your grandkids will care about this. You got to go the Back to the Future route. Your grandkids will really enjoy this.
Yep.
And at this point, we're not that far off. I mean, we're 200 years away from holiness.
Yep. From 216 to 213, he is retaking the Sardes from a general named Achaeus, who has rebelled against him. Wins that fight. From 212 to 205, he conquers the kingdoms of Parthia, Bactria, and Gandhara.
Wow. So
you might remember the Parthians establishing themselves under the reign of Seleucus II. Fun fact, no, they go back under the Seleucid control for a little bit here, thanks to this guy.
Yeah, so I'm starting to understand why Antiochus III ended up getting the nickname the Great, because he seems to be the only one that is growing the empire. Everyone else is like skimming the fat or just losing the colonies.
Yeah, he is the first man to expand the empire's borders effectively since the founder Seleucus I, all the way back in 312. So it's been about 100 years, and he's the first man to not lose territory. He's not even done yet. 202 to 195, we have the Fifth Syrian War. Here, the Macedonians, the old enemies of the Seleucids, back when they were first starting out, form an alliance with the Seleucids to invade Egypt. The Seleucids take all Egyptian possessions in Asia / the Middle East, So effectively, they get Phoenicia, aka the Levant, back from Egypt. However, Roman military intervention in Macedonia prevents the invasion of Egypt. Rome invades Macedon in response to the war with Egypt because Rome is dependent on Egyptian grain. And someone coming through and setting fire to the Nile is really going to put Rome in a bad situation. So they invade Macedonia. Fun times.
It blows me away that not only is Alexander from Macedonia, even though we tend to associate him with the Greeks, kind of fun there. But then, secondly, I like how not only is this all happening because Alexander fell, but now they're returning to his motherland.
Yeah, it's the Romans getting involved. This is the first time to see the Romans get involved. And fun fact with the Macedonia versus Greek thing, Alexander was Greek. He was a Macedonian Greek. He is from what is the province of Macedonia within the modern nation of Greece, not the Republic of Macedonia,
Ah.
which is itself a uh, successor state from, I believe, the collapse of Yugoslavia that really didn't have a strong independent identity, and in order to cement itself as a nation state, took the name of Macedonia as being, the people north of the Greek cities.
Mm. Interesting. I
Yeah,
did not know that.
yeah. Yeah. Fun fact: a lot of things that are Greek, the ancient Greeks argued about whether or not it was Greek because it was more important as to whether you were Peloponnesian or Boeotian or Thracian than whether or not it was you were ethnically Greek. It was, you know, I'm an American, but what kind of American?
Are you from the deep south? Are you a northerner?
Yeah,
Uh,
it's like that. It's one of those things
I'm
where it's like
American.
the internal divisions were so much more important. Uh, but yeah, the invasion from Rome leads to the Syrian war against Rome, 192 to 188, which saw Rome, Pergamon, and Rhodos versus the Seleucids and a man from Carthage by the name of Hannibal Barca. Uh, it's him. It's
Hannibal.
the Hannibal. Yeah,
Oh no, is
it
this
is.
when he took his his elephants?
No. That will be the Punic Wars. Hannibal's doing some time over here in Seleucia, fighting wars, getting experience as generals, familiarizing himself with mercenary companies that he will later use to mercilessly wreck Rome.
Oh no, this is his montage moment. This is him getting
This
the
is
experience.
so yeah no. So Seleucia is like the spawn point,
Oh
right? It's
no.
the level 1 mission you do early on. Um, Fun fact: the Seleucids lose. They lose badly. They lose all territories north of what are known as the Taurus Mountains to Pergamon, effectively giving Pergamon more or less control of Greece or Turkey.
Wow.
Yeah,
And you said Pergamon was a tiny breakaway state.
they were a tiny breakaway state. They've been slowly bribing their way into power
You know,
and murdering, bribing and
you
murdering.
gotta respect the hustle.
Yeah, yeah. Pergamon does pretty good for itself. That's going to bring us to the reign of Seleucus the Fourth. He rules from 187 to 175. He's the son of Antiochus the Third. He was made co-ruler in 189 because Antiochus did not want to have a succession crisis. Another reason why Antiochus is considered the Great, he actually thought ahead.
Wow.
Yep.
How do you do that?
Uh, it's weird. It won't happen again. Now, Seleucus the Fourth is a diplomat. He's actually pretty good at it. Unfortunately, he's so good the Romans have him killed.
Doubt.
Because what he does is he has a daughter whom he marries to Perseus, king of Macedon, to form an anti-Roman coalition. To keep the Romans out of the east. Rome doesn't like this, uh, and really discourages him. Uh, so much so that there's a general by the name of Heliodorus who assassinates Seleucus after Heliodorus fails to raid the temple of Jerusalem. Because fun fact, the people of Judea really do not like it when you try to burn their great temple to the ground.
Not much has changed in the modern day, I'll admit.
Yep. Something the Romans would completely forget several times. So, yeah. So basically, Heliodorus says, it's me or him. If I kill him, I can get the Romans to back me. Let's go for it. Kills him. Immediately regrets his decision. uh, as Antiochus IV steps up to the plate, rules from 175 to 164. He's another son of Antiochus III. He had been a hostage in Rome, and the Romans choose to send him back to rule Seleucia rather than back Heliodorus. Now, he overthrows a son of Seleucus IV, his nephew, in order to seize the throne with the help of Pergamon when he is released from Rome. Because, fun fact, this is the only guy who does not get on our list that technically proclaims himself king. He is not recognized as king. He more or less goes to become a king and gets killed.
Well, that's what happens when you proclaim yourself king and you don't go through the normal methods of deposing the previous one.
Yeah, fun fact, he was the son of the previous king. He does not get to be called king here, unlike literally everyone else on this list, some of whom will have way worse claims than him and way shorter reigns. 170 to 168 sees the Sixth Syrian War because for some reason Seleucia and Egypt cannot keep their hands off each other.
And I like that it just culminates in Syria.
Yep. Now, Antiochus does something new. He builds a navy, conquers Cyprus, conquers much of Egypt, and he presents himself as the protector and savior of the child king Ptolemy VI against his relatives, who were definitely planning on using him as a puppet king. Rome forces the Seleucids to leave Alexandria, leave Egypt alone because Rome still needs that grain. And so the war, though successful, ultimately amounts to nothing.
Imagine that. Like, you finally get your Trump piece, and then the big baddie next door kind of knocks and goes, give it back. Just give it back. Nothing's going to happen. Just give it back.
Yep. Rome, yeah. Rome is vastly moving from regional power to world power as what was it? Let's say 30 years ago, there was that whole thing with Hannibal Barca. So, they basically control the entire western half of the Mediterranean at this point.
Rome just casually starts growing as a power in the interim of this empire.
Yep. 165, Antiochus conquers Armenia. This will give the Armenians a wonderful casus belli to invade in just under 100 years. But before we get to that, we have absolute pandemonium.
Pandemonium. Oh god, what's gonna happen now?
We get Antiochus V, son of Antiochus IV, rules for 2 years, 164 to 162. Becomes king at the age of 9.
Wait, that means oh no.
He is recognized as king by Rome over his uncle Demetrius, who is currently a hostage in Rome. In 162, he defeats the Judah revolt, but gives them favorable terms because Media and Antioch are also rebelling. In 162, also among the many rebellions to having a boy king on the throne, the Roman ambassador to Seleucia is murdered by an angry mob after he
Holy shit.
demanded that the Seleucian navy be completely dismantled and handed over to Rome as a gift.
Yeah, that sounds very Roman of
Yep.
a political
Yep.
statement.
Yep. Now, technically, the Seleucian navy's existence violated a treaty with Rome from the Roman from the Syrian war against Rome. It violated the treaty that ended that war. But, when has a nation with, a deeply unfavorable treaty building a massive navy ever led to global conflict?
Stares off in the Pacific Theater.
Yep.
uh,
Yep. Yep. Strangely mustached Austrian man intensifies.
oh no! Oh no! 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 All right, before we get
Yep.
too much into
Yep.
global domination.
Yep. We get Demetrius the First. Rules 161 to 150. He was a son of Seleucus the Fourth, the uncle of Antiochus the Fifth. He is released by the Romans following the death of the Roman ambassador to the Seleucids. And in 162, he kills Antiochus the Fourth and anyone who is related to him.
Oh wait! Isn't he his
Right.
uncle?
Yep, he is the uncle of Antiochus the Fifth. He kills off that entire branch of the family.
Holy shit! That's one way to
He,
confirm your rule, but wow, that is a all heads must roll.
yep. In 160, he overthrows a guy by the name of Timarchus, who had proclaimed himself king of Babylon during the reign of the 9-year-old child. Uh, Also in 160, the Maccabean revolt in Judea begins. This will go on for another like 30 years. Um, in 152, a general of his by the name of Alexander Ballas rebels against Demetrius. Now, Alexander the First, uh, Ballas here, he rules from 152 to 145, and he found what is considered the line of Alexander among the Seleucid kings. This is a usurper line that is going to be running in tandem with the main Seleucid line from here on out.
Oh no, we have. It's not a breakaway state; it's a breakaway line.
Yeah, they both claim control of the entire thing, and they will basically take turns ruling the entire empire.
Take turns. Oh, that's cute.
Yep. Now, the Alexandrian line is backed by Rome, Cappadocia, that region that broke away back way in the beginning of the founding of this empire, and Egypt. Uh, he is allegedly the son of Antiochus the Fourth, uh, which, might be true, but probably isn't. In 150, he overthrows Demetrius the First,
Oh shit.
and affect and kills him obviously. 146, Demetrius the Second, son of Demetrius the First, rebels against Alexander the First with the help of Alexander's own ally Ptolemy the Sixth of Egypt.
Why are the Ptolemy line like just such like
the
they're
the Egyptians
instigators?
the Egyptians under Ptolemy claim to be the rightful heirs of Alexandria. The Seleucid Empire controls the heart of the Persian Empire, which was essentially the crowning jewel of Alexander's conquests, more or less. That was the big fish. So naturally, the Egyptians think they should rule it, and they will not let go of this claim until the last of them is dead.
And here they are, like every time they get an opportunity to just go
Just,
after their enemies, they'll.
just yeah, they just pick a side. Yeah. So Demetrius II, part of the main line here. In 145, Alexander the First is killed. Ptolemy the Sixth dies from battle wounds in the fight that kills him. Demetrius
Collateral
II is
damage.
made king. Demetrius II immediately attacks the now leaderless Persian army he brought with him into Seleucia.
Egyptian, you said Persian.
Sorry, yeah, the leaderless Egyptian army. Sorry, we are dealing with a lot of people here.
The fact
Everyone
that
has the same name.
the fact that it was just a Uno reverse card of wait, you don't have a king now, go after him. We already killed my enemy.
Yeah,
The,
more or less. Let's take Egypt. Yeah,
the enemy of my friend is my friend. The enemy of my enemy is my friend. The enemy of my enemy is my enemy.
Yep. Now, in tandem with Demetrius II's ascension to the throne is the rise of Antiochus VI, son of Alexander the First, who was proclaimed king at the ripe old age of 2.
So perfect age to rule, if you ask me.
Yep. Now, Demetrius the second here loses Medea to Mithridates the Great of Parthia, because the Parthians are apparently independent again somehow.
Naturally.
In 142, Judea gains de facto independence from the Seleucids thanks to that Maccabean revolt all the way back in 160. That kind of comes to fruition. And in 138, Demetrius II is taken captive by the Parthians after he loses Seleucia, Uruk, and Susa in Elam to them. Yeah, the Parthians just keep invading. Mithridates the Great is a very formidable force. Meanwhile, we have Antiochus IV of the Alexandrian line. Rules 145 to 141. He's 2 years old. He's the son of Alexander I. He is made king by and then subsequently murdered by Diodotus, a general of Alexander. Now, Diodotus takes the throne. He rules from 140 to 138 as an Alexandrian king. He proclaimed himself king after he killed Antiochus VI. He was never recognized by any outside power. He is besieged in the city of Dor by Antiochus VII and killed in 138. Which brings us to Antiochus VII.
Okay, but why is this royal whack-a-mole?
Yep. Mainline king takes the throne in 138, rules till 129. He is a brother of Demetrius II, takes over after Demetrius is captured by the Parthians. In 134, he's able to restore some control over Judea, but fun fact, no. In 130, he retakes Media and Babylonia from the Parthians. And in 129, he is defeated by the Parthians, commits suicide, and his grand ambition of restoring all Seleucid lands taken by Parthia is left in the dust.
What an interesting
Yep.
what is it, standard to set? Like if at first you don't succeed, just kill yourself.
Yep. He really doesn't want the Parthians to have 2 Seleucid kings in their custody, so he kills himself early. Yeah. Things are going very poorly for him. He did take some land back, but,
There was an attempt. Maybe not the best attempt, but there was an attempt.
Yeah. This brings us to the restoration of Demetrius II, who rules again from 129 to 125 on the main line. He's restored to power by his Parthian captors, who really see it as more valuable to put him back on the throne than to deal with the absolute insanity that is all these other people.
That's honestly kind of a badge of honor, where you're captive and being held against your will, and then finally your captors just come up to your cell and go, "Hey, would you mind just stepping back in? These other guys, they don't know what they're doing. We thought we'd have favorable conditions, and this is just we need help."
Now the Seleucid Empire Demetrius is restored to is greatly reduced. It contains only Syria and the province of Cilicia. In 128, Demetrius tries to intervene in the Egyptian civil war, see if he can't expand his borders westward. This backfires horribly, and Egypt backs Alexander II against him. He is killed in battle against Alexander II in 125. Now, Alexander II, he is a king of the Alexandrian line. He will rule from 129 to 123. He is the supposed son of Alexander I, who was supposedly the son of one of the Antiochian kings. So we've got a lot of questionable lineage going on here.
Yeah.
Anyway, the Egyptians install him on the throne. He will be the last king of the line of Alexander. He is never able to properly invade Syria despite killing Demetrius II. Syria is now the Seleucid heartland. In 123, he is captured and executed by Antiochus VIII, a man we will get to in some time.
So many
because
Antiochus.
because there's a couple of kings here between then and now. First is Seleucus V of the main line. He rules for the year 125. He's the son of Demetrius II. He tries and fails to take the throne from his brother Antiochus VIII. It is believed that his mother, Cleopatra Thea, both put him up to it and murdered him.
Wow.
She was really pruning the lines here to try and get a consistent line of succession. And that is going to bring us,
Damn, Mom.
Yeah. Mom of the year here. That's going to bring us to Cleopatra Thea. She's going to get an honorable mention here from 150 to 121, more or less ruling as the only sane person in all of Seleucia.
Well, until you see all the things she's tied to. And one of the things I think we should highlight about her is she's the daughter of Ptolemy the Sixth of Egypt. So she's got the tie to the Egyptian royal line, which, you know, talking about all the times that we've had kings ally with Egypt, it's almost a matter of why.
Yeah, there's constant wars and alliances with Egypt here. She is a product of one of them.
And the cause of a few of them.
She caused it. Yeah. She grants a lot of these kings a hefty claim on the throne of Egypt, and Egypt a hefty claim on the throne of Seleucia. You can see where this is going.
Oh, jeez.
And to understand just how hefty this claim is, Cleopatra Thea is the wife of 3 Seleucid kings. She first marries Alexander I, the rebellious king who founds the Alexandrian line. So, right there, Egypt is legitimized through the Alexandrian line. Then she marries Demetrius II, you know, the man whose son, the son of the man Alexander I killed, and who, of course, kills Alexander I. Then she marries Antiochus VII, the son of Alexander I.
Wait, so Antiochus?
Oh no, I'm sorry, wrong Antiochus.
Okay.
Sorry, this is the brother of Demetrius II during Demetrius II's capture and exile in Parthia.
So let me get this straight.
Little too Egyptian there.
First husband, Alexander I, dies. She has a kid with him.
Yep, rebel king. Yep.
And then she marries Demetrius II, the actual king.
Yep.
Of the legitimate line. He gets abducted. She's like, all right, fuck that. Gets married to his brother, who leads in his stead. And then after he comes back from his exile, does she jump ship back?
Yep, because Antiochus VII is kind of dead.
Oh, no. Cleopatra Thea, what are you doing?
Now, she also has 4 sons who become king. She has a son by Alexander I, who becomes the short-lived Antiochus VI under the Alexandrian line. She has Seleucus V by Demetrius II. He dies. She has Antiochus VIII, also by Demetrius II. And she has Antiochus IX by Antiochus VII. She is very much responsible for the death of Seleucus V in 125.
Ooh.
And she co-rules with her son Antiochus IX from 125 to 121. And by co-rule, we mean marry, but that offends Seleucid sensibilities, so she just rules as queen alongside him. until he forces her to kill herself in 121 because things are just getting out of hand.
It got a little too Egyptian for them.
Yeah,
Oh.
yeah. That's Cleopatra Thea. 29 years. Dear God, what is happening?
And then what a bookmark ending, because she was forced to end her life by Antiochus the Ninth in 121. He's
Yeah.
just like, yep,
Now,
we're too much. This is it. You're out.
now, if you think that's fun, that's not all the kings she's ruled through. Because with the ascension of Antiochus the Eighth to the throne, and the defeat of the in 125, and the defeat of the Alexandrian line in 123, we get a split in the Seleucid reign. The dynasty will split halfway through the reign of Antiochus the Eighth into northern and southern lines, depending on which part of the country they control.
Oh no.
Uh, Antiochus, who will rule from 125 to 96, will be of the northern line. He is the son of Demetrius II, takes the throne alongside his mother, Cleopatra Thea. Wink, wink there. In 115, his half brother, Antiochus IX, rebels. And in 112, both sides of the Seleucid Civil War pick sides in the ongoing Egyptian Civil War that breaks out. The city of Antioch changes hands like a game of hot potato, between Antiochus the Eighth and Antiochus the Ninth. He will die in the year 96. Antiochus the Ninth will rule from 115 to 95 on the southern branch. Half brother of Antiochus the Eighth, son of Antiochus the Seventh. 96 marries Antiochus the Eighth's widow to make peace after Antiochus the Eighth dies. Fun fact: no, a like five-way civil war will break out anyway. And Antiochus the Ninth is killed in the year 95. This will bring us to King Roulette. In the year 95, would anyone like to guess how many freaking kings of Seleucia there are?
I'm gonna guess 4.
Counting Antiochus the Ninth, whose reign will end during this year and spark all of this, there are 6.
Ooh.
Technically, there's 5 because we'll allow his death to count as the outbreak. However, several of these people declare themselves kings the year before he dies. Because that's the year Antiochus dies. Or Antiochus the Eighth dies, and that's when all these people start rebelling. We get Demetrius III, rules 96 to 87. He founds what is known as the Damascan line of kings. This is a line of Seleucid kings that are ruling in exile from the city of Damascus.
Oh God. Okay. So now we're getting even more muddy. This is great.
Yep. Demetrius III is a son of Antiochus VIII, so technically he might be considered of the northern line if he ever actually ruled any part of the country. He is made co-ruler of Damascus with his twin brother Philip I by Egyptian king in exile Ptolemy IX. It is just rich people giving each other meaningless titles here.
You're the king and I'm the king, but we're both in exile because there's fake rulers on the throne.
Yep. Or as the Hobbit films put it, what do you call a king without a kingdom? Oh, right. Nobody.
Well, don't tell it to them.
Yep. In the year 89, he enters into a civil war with his twin brother Philip. 2 years later, he loses the war and is killed due to the intervention of the Parthians. That's right. They're back.
From the top rope, the Parthians.
The Parthians just keep growing here.
Also, I just want to point out that they're twins, so how do you know you killed the right one?
Yeah. Well, it's simple. One's called Demetrius, one's called Philip. That brings us to Philip I. Rules from 95 to 75, Damascan line, twin of Demetrius III. In 87, he wins the civil war against his twin brother. He takes control of the city of Antioch but loses control of the city of Damascus. He will be succeeded by Antiochus the 13th, a man we will get to later. Claimant number 3 for the throne of Seleucia following the deaths of Antiochus 8 and 9 is Seleucus VI of the northern line. He will rule from 96 to 94. Son of Antiochus VIII, he carries on his father's valiant struggle against Antiochus IX, despite his mother marrying the man. In 95, he kills and defeats his uncle / stepfather, Antiochus IX.
I hate you, Uncle Daddy.
Yep. Which leads to Antiochus X taking up arms against Seleucus VI and burning Seleucus VI alive in the year 94.
Holy. Wow.
Yeah. Things get freaking brutal here. All right. We now move to claimant number 4, Antiochus XI, also of the northern line. He declares himself king in 95. He rules to the year 92. His rule will begin at the same time as Antiochus X of the southern line, but he gets listed first because he dies first.
Hey, at least you're first in something, bud.
Yep. Claims the throne following his brother Seleucus V's sixth death. Big air quotes there because he technically claims it the year before his brother dies. In the year 92, he is captured and killed by Antiochus X, ending the northern line. Claimant number 5.
Oh, God. Okay.
Antiochus X. Only claimant from the southern line, rules from 95 to 88, son of Antiochus IX, kills both Seleucus VI and Antiochus XI. In 88, he is killed by the Nabatean Arabs during a war he fights with the Parthians.
The Nabateans coming. Wow.
Yep.
We're seeing new fighters arise every moment.
Yep. The Nabateans have been getting involved in Parthian politics, but this is the first time they really strike a major blow. That leads us to the reign of Tigranes II, the Great, of Armenia. So all these people have been killing each other. And by the year 75, we just kind of have Philip the First in the Damascus line, who is ruling from Antioch. He dies. And Tigranes II, the Armenians, move in. Armenia occupies the entirety of the Seleucid Empire from the year 74 to the year 69. He is a foreign king. He invades in the year 74, conquers the remains of the Seleucid Empire, and in the year 69, he is pushed out of Syria by Roman intervention on the behalf of Antiochus XIII, Philip I's declared successor. Now, Antiochus XIII rules from the year 69 to the year 64. He is a southern king. He is the son of Antiochus X. He is in Rome when Philip I, the last Seleucid king, dies and Armenia invades. Because of this, he is able to garner Roman support and also not be murdered by all the other, shall we say, kings and chaos that goes on between the death of Antiochus X in 88 and, everything else that goes on. In the year 67, he is overthrown, by a popular vote under Philip II of the Damascus line. Because, fun fact, being declared someone's successor doesn't mean anyone will listen to you, especially when you're backed by a foreign army. It's like, yes, thank you for that independence. Get out.
And when I get knocked down, but I get up again, never gonna keep me down.
Yep. In the year 65, he is restored to the throne by the Romans once again. And in the year 64, Pompey Magnus, also known as Pompey the Great of the Roman Republic, decides that they've had enough of these, Seleucid kings, invades, makes Syria a Roman province, and kills Antiochus the 13th, ending the Seleucid Empire. However, before that, we get to brief mention here. Philip II rules for the year 66, Damascene line, son of Philip I, briefly overthrows Antiochus the 13th, but the Romans kill him.
So effectively, and correct me if I'm wrong, but an oversight here. We have Alexander the Great dies, didn't leave a successor. Then we have the Seleucid kings jump up. They ruled for very
They have a very unstable empire for approximately 250 years.
And then Rome just goes, that's a shiny rock you have. That's my rock now.
Yeah. Rome's kind of had enough. Rome has been intervening in their politics for just over 200 years at this point. Because they first begin intervening during the latter half of the reign of Antiochus the Great. Their first major intervention, Fifth Syrian War, 202 to 195. So, 202 to 64. That's about 150 years.
Jeez. So,
invasion.
And also during this time was when Rome gained prominence and gained a lot of influence. So it's just kind of this unfortunate confluence where the Seleucians tried to keep their the Seleucids tried to keep their power, tried to keep their empire, and then Rome just came in and was like, yeah, no thanks.
Yeah, they've been having a lot of Roman hostages and Roman puppet kings for this time. Fun fact: the man who removes them from the map, Pompey Magnus, he's going to become one of the first triumvirs. During the end of the Roman Republic. It's Pompey Magnus, Crassus, and a man we all know, Julius Caesar. Yep. He's part of that little cabal there.
Lovely.
Yep.
But I think that's actually a great point for us to wrap up on today's episode.
Yep.
Thank you guys.
I will just say as we go out here, the Seleucid Empire, it lasted for one America, and oh dear God, are we doing so much better than they did?
Hey, we're only seeing a new ruler once every 4 to 8 years. We're good.
Yeah, but we're not constantly disintegrating like they are.
Well,
250 years. We did it, baby.
Well, thank you guys for watching. If you enjoyed, check out some of our other videos, and we will see you next week, or in 2 weeks, with a topic on the Qing dynasty of China. Yay.